So when you're doing a vasana and you're letting go of something, like I use this image of a raccoon putting its hand through the bars and holding on to something, and then it can't let go. So it's a prisoner to its own desire.
Right.
And when you finally realize that's where you are and you're going to do the vasana, let go of it. You know, to find that you're happy, joyous, and free without holding on to that is a great place to be. And then moving forward, because that is the familiar, the habitual. You might have somebody who says, but here it is, you know, so you say, this is the tree, here it is.
Right.
If you bring your gaze away from it, it's not there anymore, but it is. So now the pattern exists that you're, let's say, drawn to other people who are going to say, but here it is, but here it is. So I guess my question is, how do you break that pattern and then start investing into what you don't know? If you don't know what you don't know, how do you enjoy that freedom away from it and bring your attention to something else?
You have to be conscious of it.
A new learning.
Well, you know, like most of that stuff that you're talking about, like the holding on, the being attached and stuff like that, it happens unconsciously. Why? Because how do we know it's unconscious? Because it's not comfortable. It's a source of suffering. We would never create suffering for ourselves consciously. We wouldn't say, hey, you know, if I stay attached to this person or this thing, I can really suffer really good tonight, you know, so let me do that. You know, it's not what you have to bring conscious awareness to what is unconscious. And then from there, it's quite simple, you know. You become conscious that you're holding on to a hot coal and it's burning your hand. You're going to let it go immediately. But this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say remain as the conscious awareness, the observer of your mind. Just watching what your mind is doing. Because, you know, all of this craziness that we experience at times, the mind is creating. And I'm not saying what's happening out there. What's happening is happening. You don't control that. It's what happens inside you in the face of that. That's the problem. That's what makes it a problem. But this is really good news. Because when you're realizing that, wait a minute, I have a lot more say in this matter than I thought. I just need to practice and become aware. You get to decide whether you suffer or not. Whether you're experiencing suffering or whether you're suffering you're experiencing. You know, you're having an experience. Don't suffer your experience. What's the point of that? Could there be anything more foolish? And don't take this to an extreme. Look, someone you love dies or you lose a romantic relationship or something, you're not going to be happy. But you can really still have peace with it. You don't have to suffer it. Sadness is not suffering. Sadness is a catharsis. And it's okay to be sad. And you allow yourself to be sad, and you can even have peace with that and even joy with that human expression of, wow, I love that person so much. This is the way that I feel. And I'm letting go. It's a natural human reaction to loss. But you don't have to suffer your sadness. You don't have to suffer what you're experiencing. The reason that you suffer what you're experiencing is because of what is unconsciously going on in your head that has been randomly programmed unconsciously your whole life. You see? What happens, you know, when you realize you're the raccoon with your hand through the cage, the moment that you realize that, the jig is up. You know, I'm doing it again. And then it just falls apart. That just won't remain in the light of your consciousness. Your consciousness just won't ever agree to it. You know, it's when it's unconscious and it keeps happening over and over. You know, a lot of times, like you won't see, you know, like your thought patterns. You won't see the thought patterns. You've been doing it that way so long, and so you're so rehearsed that you don't even notice. But what you will notice is that you keep getting the same result that you don't want. That's what you'll notice. That will be your clue to be like, I'm thinking that way again somehow. I can't realize how I'm doing it, but I know I'm doing it because I'm back in the same circumstance that I didn't want to be in. So something is unconscious is happening over and over again in my mind. Is that helpful? Is that?